Just come to lifting and rolling the shoulders, lifting the toes and just placing them down. Just lifting up at the chest, one hand on the chest, one hand on the abdomen. Feel that there is a thread. It can be a golden or a silver thread or any colour that you want, and it connects the 2 points where underneath your 2 hands. And just this can start to straighten out the body and unkink it if it's slumped or slouched or crumpled up. And then just lower the hands. Open the hands outwards, so you're rotating the arms in the shoulder socket, which will impact your shoulder to a certain extent because of the nerves have to go down there.
It's not actually in my shoulder, it's the muscles
The
here.
muscles there
So some movements are fine, others
are not.
Who knows?
And then just step your feet apart and come to this very gentle swaying from side to side. This, you'll get this in all Eastern practices, yoga, Tai Chi, Qigong. It reflects the movement of all energies in the body.
Very relaxing, I find.
It is, isn't it?
It's nice.
To go, yeah.
It's just a
It
freedom.
does.
Yeah, it's nice.
So this movement is part of a spiraling movement that you find in nature, the oscillation, the spiraling. It's how things grow. So it kind of links us back to our embryotic state. And it is very key in the somatic movement, which disconnects the mind from the process of movement because it's sensory. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, think about it.
Yeah.
Which probably can't.
Totally, yeah.
So there is a science behind everything, not, as you know, scientifically orientated. Unlike you, Sarah, because you'd be very science orientated. I barely do maths and science.
Not the only one.
Sciences were not my forte.
What are they?
Give me Latin text or anything like that, and I was all right.
Languages, yeah.
And then
Is it all wiring in the brain?
yeah, I don't know what it is. And then just come to slowing down, lift and roll the shoulders. So if you lift and roll one shoulder, all of us, and lift and roll the other one, and reset, you're beginning to, again, the nerves inside are being almost straightened out. Just hold your wrist this time and lift up. But if you prefer to clasp your hands to open you up more, then do that. And that's opening up as well, a little bit. Just opening, giving space in the shoulders. Because even though it's the arm, the nerve has to go through the shoulder to get to the arm.
To get there, yeah.
And then just very gently turn slightly to the left. Come back to the centre and turn very slightly to the right. And come to the centre and release the hands. And then with the nose, trace a horizontal figure of 8. So you're moving your neck. So this will also have some connection to your shoulders. It doesn't matter which way you go on your horizontal 8, because we're going to be reversing it, or I'm inviting you to reverse it at some point. You generally breathe in as the nose traces up. And you can make your 8 tiny, or you can make your 8 wider, up to you. Breathing in as the nose goes up, breathing out as it comes down. Breathing in as it goes up, breathing out as it comes down. And then if you want to change your direction, please do, but note but your mind would have chosen the easiest route on the first one. And if you go terribly wrong on the second, it reflects that the other side movement, as I've gone wrong, and it is initiated from the other side. We always tend to be with our strongest side. Most people, when they walk forward, step forward with perhaps their right foot. I've gone all wrong. It just reflects your brain patterns. And then just come to stillness, lift and roll the shoulders. And then breathing in, raise the right arm, bend it at the elbow if that is too much for you to raise it upwards. Hold the back of your head, chin in, and just use your left hand to slide down the left thigh. You're opening up under the arm, you're opening the upper lymphatic system. Holding the back of the head supports the head and neck. And then breathing in, press the feet down and slide the left hand up. And just release the right hand. Lift and roll the right shoulder. And then holding your right thigh with the right hand, bend your left elbow and bring it up. Hold the back of your head with the left hand, chin to chest. And then just slide down with the right hand. You can stay like this, or you can turn to look down to the right side of you if you want to, if that's easier on your head and neck. Press your feet down and roll up to standing. Lower the left arm. Lift and roll the shoulders. So in the subject of the spirit of longevity, balancing. So don't beat yourself up. My lifespan is about less than 10 years according to this. So one foot in front of the other. You might have to turn your foot out at the edge.
It's a small indicator amongst loads of other things.
And with your arms out, if you need to. Rosie's doing very well. She's doing it with her hands.
Shaking all over.
Please.
Can you go backwards?
Yeah, oh gosh, if you want to go backwards, that's super impressive. It's just a nod to balance, a nod to our brains. Backwards is very hard.
Oh, it's something that easy.
Yeah, actually.
It is to me.
And then just release the hands. And well done, everybody. So just then come to a more classic balance, hands on the waist, and just lift the hips and see how that works for you. Well done. And then lowering the heels, bend the knees, and as you bend the knees, just feel the lower abdominal muscles engage slightly. Bottom might go slightly away from you. And then breathing in, come back up to the centre. And then stand with your hands on the hips, maybe step a little bit apart, hip width apart your feet, and swirl in a slight hula hoop one way. And again, your brain will choose its direction. It's not quite so confusing as the nose. And then swirl in the other way. But if you wanted to add in a figure of 8, you can swirl in a horizontal figure of 8 as well, because that adds a twist. And choose which of the swirls or the twisting 8 you prefer. You got any preference?
Yeah, horizontal 8 is quite good.
Horizontal. The 8 figure limits your movement. It's like a very safe.
It goes deeper into the hips.
Yeah.
So you're swirling your lower abdominal energy, and actually for Kevin this might be quite. We can say to him.
You'll have to give him a demonstration.
I can provide him with Janet. I still got the belly dancing and tingle jingle things. So he can just move his hips.
So this is what we're going to do today, love. All right?
He can become a male belly dancer. for the
I'd be
day.
shocked.
The more you twist
Gosh.
your hips, the more the jingle jangles jingle.
Jingles.
So then just come to stillness. So it moves energy. It's the antithesis to stagnation, moves energy in the lower abdominal area. And then lift and roll your shoulders. And a nod to COVID that everybody seems to have at the moment. I stress I haven't, but this is the upper respiratory tract. So you did this, I think, the other day, breathing in. So
Oh.
if that's too much, just here.
Oh, that's fine. I can do that. It's all right. That's better than that.
Mm.
That's it.
Last one. Lift and roll the shoulders. So you're clearing the upper respiratory tract out by doing that.
You feel the shoulders.
You can feel
You're
the
right.
shoulders.
I can, yes. Yes, right.
If you don't want to do your shoulders, I'm not going to go through the other two, but you can put your fists under your arms and do that. And if you want, that's mid-lungs, and you can just do this
Oh, yes.
for lower lungs if your shoulders are stiff. Or you can do all three, but just lift and roll your shoulders. The first one that we did, the upper respiratory, is very, very helpful. And then very, very gently circle the wrists up, stretch up, look up if that's you're able to do that. If not, look ahead, circle the wrists down. And then breathing in, raise the arms, join the thumbs, and just sway from side to side. So I'm including this, Sue, as an anti-stiffness movement because it is a Vata movement, a Vata pacifying movement. And Vata in Ayurveda has to be out of balance if you've got any stiffness or pain anywhere in the body. It took me years to learn that because I went all into it, and then I went on a lecture, and it was like the first thing the doctor said, and I thought, well, why didn't they tell me that years ago? And then just breathing out, lower the hands, lift and roll the shoulders. Breathing in, turn the head to the left. Breathing out, turn the head to the right. In to the left and out to the right. And then half salute to the sun before we come to our mats. Circling the arms to where suits you. Palms together through the heart centre. Bend the knees and slide your hands down to your shins. Breathing in, half lift. Breathing out, bend in. Breathing in, half lift. Stay here as you breathe out. And when you're ready, breathe in, press your feet down and roll up vertebra by vertebra to standing. Breathing in, raise the hands up, stretch the fingers. And breathing out, just lower the hands back down. Lift and roll one shoulder, lift and roll the other shoulder. And then once again, half salute, hands together at the heart centre. Soften the knees, circle the hands up. Stretch up, palms together at the heart centre. Coming down through, bending the knees. Hands onto the shins. Breathing in, half lift. Breathing out, soften in. Breathing in, half lift. Stay here as you breathe out. And then breathing in, soften the knees and roll up vertebra by vertebra to standing. Arms up, stretch the fingers and lower the arms. So with nerves, sometimes it can be chin to chest, almost head to one side. You can have the arm out to the side.
That's one of my exercises to do.
Is it?
I just put my hand out here and my hand up and move my head
So then, optionally, that's interesting. That hand up is not as effective as hand down.
No, it's too much of a strain, she said, at the moment to have
Okay.
a hand down. It's better with that.
Okay.
It's more effective for me.
It is more to have a hand down.
Yeah.
And you can alternatively just put your fingertips to the head, just to open that out along there. And then it says that there's nothing harsh about the movement. Use your hand to bring your head upright and lower your arm, lift and roll that shoulder. And then chin to chest the other way. Have the hand out, or if you want to have it up. I find that more of a strain, but whatever she's told you, that's fine. And then option to have the hand the other side.
I think it's just targets a certain muscle movement,
Okay.
which is what she said.
That's that. It is a different, I can feel that's a different movement.
It moves completely different muscles in the arm.
The arm. So where it works for you. And then bring your hand to the side of the head and bring it up. So that creates lift and roll that shoulder, lift and roll both shoulders. So that creates space just by stretching out there. And space here at the back, you can do it several ways. You can hug, or you can just bring your hand across and just support your upper arm, and you'll really feel that, or you can just slide your hand. I like it on the upper arm to really support the shoulder.
Yeah.
Does that help you?
It's nice.
And chin to chest maybe. And then come to the other side, just however that works for you. Just almost a hole, and then you'll feel that opening, almost you can come over to the side, opening into the shoulder. And then coming up, lift and roll the shoulders. And then we're going to come down to the mat. And perhaps have legs out in front. I just need to move this. So I just wanted to, on sound, tinnitus. The higher sounds resonate with the brain. So as we go through, just as you, the sounds won't translate so well for you, Sarah, so I'm not going to linger on the sound. I'm very aware that it doesn't translate on Zoom particularly well. So this resonates with the base chakra. But it kind of can split out because the chakras link with one another. So that's another point that becomes quite complex. This is the next one up, so it's between the navel and the base. So this would be for heaven, that one and this one. Notice G, that note is F.
So it's what were the notes?
G, F.
G.
Next one's at the navel, so this is E. So the physical sound has a resonance or a vibration that Sarah won't pick up, unfortunately, but we've got that swirling around us. So that's there.
Won't record those sounds on
It's
Zoom.
rubbish. And Zoom has got a way to overcome that by putting it to original sound, but in the settings, those settings are only available on the computer. They're not available on a Apple machine, which those are. And I contacted Zoom and had live chats with them, and they confirmed that, unfortunately. So this is here, the heart. And then this, the next one's the throat. So if you've got thyroid or parathyroid slightly out, that might resonate. But the throat is connected to that one, F, because the two things are connected. Next one's the third eye. So that's B. Japanese temples, the big lacquer bowls that they use are set somewhere around the note B to get attention. And then this is the upper note A, so A or B for the hearing.
High notes, so yeah.
And one of the things for hearing is to get, if not a set, then something called the tinctures, the little tings, which I've got somewhere. That ting, the oscillation of the wave sets up a vibration that the ears generates movement and oscillation in the ears. So a tincture. So if you could sit and hold one of these and so. So for sound therapy, they would waft this around you. But if the B note appealed to you more, then it would be.
That resonates well with my left ear. Which is
And then, just as we've sat a little while, just move the feet, toes up and then down. I was thinking we might do some humming breath and let the neighbours confirm in their minds that I'm utterly insane. So
Just say
toes
it's
up.
the bees that are doing it.
Yes.
The honeybees.
Honeybees. And then just circle the ankles in one direction. And circle the ankles in the opposite direction. This is boosting the circulation. Toes out and just curl in a little bit. And then you can either sit with your legs out or you can come to a cross-legged. We're going to do some hummingbee breath for you. And if you don't want to join, I completely understand. Normally you breathe in and then you go holding the hands over the ears. When your breath runs out, you come back. Breathing in, bring hands up. Breathing out. In your own time, and last one. Just rest your hands on your knees. Take note of how you feel. And sitting up with your legs out in front of you or however you are. Breathing out round chin to chest. Breathing in, sitting up. And rounding chin to chest. A couple of times in your own breath pattern. And then just very gently sway slightly from side to side. And then start to make a couple of little circles in one direction. And then the other direction. And turn to look over the right shoulder. Turn to look over the left shoulder. Come back to the centre. Turn to look over the left shoulder. Turn to look over the right shoulder. Come back to the centre. And then come to line, knees bent, feet hip width apart. So we come to back, lower back and hips. Just take a moment to settle yourself. Palms can be either down alongside you on the mat, or they can be on your abdomen. And we're going to come back to the head again. Just very gently turn the head to one side. Just check that your shoulders are down away from your ears to give that stretch that we did when you were standing up. And stay here for an in and an out breath. The weight of the head is held by the earth, and some acupressure points on the back of the head helps. So this is helpful for hearing, because you're just rolling on the acupressure points at the back of the head. Roll the head to the centre and then to the other side, but also for anything going through the neck, going down into the shoulders, into the arms. Just checking that your chin is slightly down, it's not sticking up. And stay here for a couple of breaths. And then coming with the centre, back to the centre. And start, your feet can be slightly wider now than hip width apart, your choice, just to sway the knees from side to side. The wider your feet are, the more your knees will drop into the centre one at a time. Your hips will lift off the ground. And you might find that your head joins in the movement. So classically, your knees would move in one direction and your head would turn in the opposite direction, your hips lifting. And back to the centre and then go to the opposite side. If you find that your head is moving, doing its own thing, that's fine too. And then coming back to the centre with the knees, maybe adjust your feet to hip width apart. Again, just be comfortable. And picking up the left knee, we're going to roll the knee or move the knee in a figure of 8, and you can choose whether you want a horizontal figure of 8 or whether you want a vertical figure of 8. And as before, we're going to start in one direction, and the invitation will be to go to the other direction. But if you find that that doesn't suit your mind, then just stick with one direction. I find it easier to go on a vertical 8 here, but that might just be me. And then you've got the invitation to reverse your 8. And the focus isn't on the knee at all, it's on the hip. So you're moving the top of the leg in the hip socket. So you're giving full rotation to the movement of the hip. Then just come to a stillness. Just enjoy hugging the left knee into the chest. And you can then turn the left knee to the left and place the left ankle on top of the right upper leg, thigh area, palms down, and just sway both knees from side to side. Your hip will lift a little bit to either side. And while you're here, you can experiment by exploring extending your right heel and see if that makes any difference as you're swaying. If it does, then stick with it. If you can't feel any difference at all, then just release and relax your foot again, your left heel. Yeah. And then hugging the left knee into the chest. Just circle your ankle a couple of times in one direction, and then circle your ankles a couple of times in the opposite direction. Hug the left knee into the chest, still holding it, let it drift to arm's length. And a couple of times hugging the knee into the chest, and let it drift to the arm's length. Again, this is focusing on the hip. It's focusing on the foundational apana energy, so the lower abdominal energy. So movement of energy in the lower abdominal system. And just very gently, maybe supporting your left leg, place the left foot on the floor. And just sway the knees a couple of times from side to side before coming to bring your attention to the right side and hugging the right knee into the chest. And then choose whether you want to do a vertical or a horizontal figure of 8 with your knee. And the movement can really be very fine, very small. You can think about reversing your 8 as an option, you don't have to. And very gently open the right knee to the right and rest the right ankle on top of the left thigh, palms down. As you start to sway both knees from side to side. And again, you've got a choice. You can just relax your ankle, or you can extend your right heel if you feel that this is getting into the outer right hip a little bit more. Your choice. And just to enjoy the slight swaying, and when you come back to the centre next, just leave it there. Hug the right knee into the chest, and then as you still holding the right knee, as you breathe in, let the right knee drift to arm's length, and breathing out, hug the knee into the chest, and just a few times in your own breath. very gently make the next one the last one. And just supporting the right leg as you place the right foot on the floor. Palms down alongside you and just sway gently from side to side. Bring the knees to the centre and hug one knee and then the other knee into the chest. And again, sway from side to side. You might roll onto the backs of the upper arms, or you might keep your sway a little bit less, more central, so that you're not rolling anywhere. Again, helpful for the head, really rolling onto the side of the head. If you sway a lot. If you rolled right onto the side, you'd be rolling the head right above the ear part. Talking about tinnitus, you know,
Is that good?
the side of the head, yes.
Yeah, right.
Because the weight of your body is doing the massaging for you.
Right. Yes.
And sometimes, rather than rolling together, I like to hug one knee in and extend the other knee out as I roll to the side. So I'm rolling to the left, my left knee is out away from me, my right knee's hugged in. And I reverse it, I'm going to the right. My left knee's hugged in and my right knee's slightly out. Just find that slightly more controlling, I suppose. Again, it's your choice. It's just exploring. You're quite relaxed because you're on the floor, back of the neck's long, everything, the blood's flowing to the head. And then just very gently supporting the legs underneath to bring the feet back down to the earth. And just for a moment, connect the finger pads to the top of your ear. There's a dent in the skull, almost if you followed your temples around. And just press and release, and press the fingers above the ear into that dent in the head and release. Just almost towards the temples is quite nice. You're stimulating the ear point here. And a reminder that in one colour scheme, one colour of the chakras, the colour associated with the ears is burgundy or maroon, like red wine. So you might either love wearing it or have an aversion to it. And then just very gently release the hands. And release either the legs to Shavasana, or if you don't want to come to Shavasana, your back's hurting, have your legs resting perhaps in constructive rest, knees touching, so wherever works for you. Just make sure that your hands are away, or your shoulders are away from your ears. And come to be aware of the parts of the body that are connecting and resting on the floor. Perhaps the backs of the heels, maybe the calves if you're lying, feet if your knees are bent. Certainly the bottom, the back. Shoulders, back of the head. And now come to be aware of the texture of the clothing, how it feels against the skin, the external part of ourselves. Imagine the space between the ears, the brain, and just feel that the space is being widened as the body rests on the ground, the earth comes to support the body and the ground almost comes to meet. Back of the head is relaxed and heavy on the ground. The eyebrows are relaxed, spreading away from each other, and the eyes rest, just relaxing. And just bringing attention to the base of the nostrils, and just notice the air. As you breathe in, the air is generally slightly cooler. And as you breathe out, the air is just subtly warmer. And imagine the in-breath going to wherever you feel you would like some attention to release and relax a little bit further. That could be to the ears, could be to wherever there's any pain or niggle, whether it be the shoulder or the lower back, the hips. Each breath coming in releases and relaxes as you breathe out. And then perhaps imagine your breath being coloured breath, colour of your choice today. And as you breathe in, your out breath is directed, coloured breath is directed to the part you want to release and relax. Just imagine anything being taken away as you breathe out. Just checking that you relax your feet, toes, heels, legs, hips, shoulders are open and relaxed, the arms, elbows, wrists, hands, backs of the hands and palms, fingers and the space beyond the fingers. Coming back to the base of the spine and tracing the way all the way up the base of the spine, between the shoulder blades, back of the neck, back of the head, as it connects to the earth. The crown of the head, the forehead, just smoothing across the eyebrows, the eyes, and then the space once more between the ears. Finally come to rest your attention at the base of the nose. Breathing in, the air is cool, and breathing out, the air is warm. Just be aware of the sounds inside and outside where you are. Back. And connecting with the body again. Maybe move your fingers and toes, maybe bend your legs and hug your knees into the chest. And just take a gentle rock from side to side again. And then really take your time to come to a seated position, but if you want to stay on the ground, that's fine too. Rolling to the side maybe, coming up, taking your time.
It's smoothed off.
Oh, good.
Very close.
Relaxation. And then just come to bring your thoughts to, and you can have your hands relaxed and resting. We'll go through the base chakra, note of G, Just bring your thoughts to the base of the perineum spine. And then move your attention up in front of the spine, between the navel and the perineum, so the lower level, abdominal level. Into there. Come back to the navel, or up to the navel, behind the navel, the Manipura center, digestion. How we transform not just what we eat, but life.
What's that one? The military, that was G?
G, F, E.
E.
So the next one is D, which is the heart.
That was, wasn't it? A lot.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
really,
Yeah,
that's
it's really strong. That's amazing. Still brilliant.
So the next one's the throat. And then we come to the head. So the next note is the third eye, it's B. Go round here, that's almost ears. And the last note is A, which is the crown of the head. And then this is a much more general gone, deeper.